Assalamualaikum, Tashahau, Vanakkam. Today, my group and I will continue with our class presentation on our topic demonstration and verbal instruction. Our group contains of 4 members. Myself, Muhammad Hafiz bin Rosli, Muhammad Asharuddin bin Muhamad Ghazali, Muhammad Mustaqim bin Muhamad Manja, and Nur Fatihah binti Ramlan. These are some learning outcomes of the topic demonstration and verbal instruction. At the end of this presentation, we should be able to understand the concept of demonstration and verbal instruction, define what is demonstration, understand what does observer perceive from a demonstration, understand the principle of demonstration for skill acquisition, timing and frequency of demonstrating a skill, how does observing demonstration influence learning, and many more. Let's go to the next slide. Concept of demonstration and verbal instruction is effective method of providing instructions for helping a person to learn motor skill depends on the skill and the instructional goals. If you wanted to instruct someone about how to perform a skill, how would you do it? Probably, you would demonstrate the skill, verbally describe what to do, or use some combination of both approach. But do you know enough about the effectiveness of these different means of communication to know which one to prefer or when to use each one or both?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Asharuddin bin Muhamad Ghazali, and now I will continue my group presentation by talking about demonstration. Okay, demonstration is an instructional strategy that encourages observational learning, which is the learning of skill that result from the direct observation of a person or people performing or learning to perform the skill. Okay, there are 2 reasons for increased interest in demonstration, which is firstly phenomenal growth of the role of vision in skill learning, and secondly is literature is available on common instructional strategy. Okay, furthermore, there are 2 terms that are used interchangeably with demonstration, which is modeling and observational learning. Okay, now we go through to the what does observer perceive from a demonstration. Okay, based on Scully and Newell in 1985, they said observer perceive the invariant feature of the coordinate movement pattern to develop their own movement pattern to perform the skill. Okay, there are 2 types of research that support this view, which is visual perception of motion, and secondly is the investigation of the influence of demonstration on learning a complex skill. Okay, next I will explain about principle of demonstration for skill acquisition. Okay, firstly is demonstrate correct and varying forms of movement to create a context for correct technique and common errors. Okay, secondly is use multiple modalities such as verbal, visual, demonstration, or kinesthetic to optimize skill acquisition for all learners. Thirdly is provide specific feedback to optimize the patient or client abilities to self-assess for future performance. Okay, lastly is design instruction, which allows for mastery of simple to more complex tasks.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Nur Fatihah binti Ramlan. Today I'm going to presenting about the benefit of novels from observing others' novels. First, research shows that beginners can derive learning benefit from observing others' beginners practice a skills. Second is discourages the imitations of a skill model's performance. Third, encourages the observers to engage in more active problem solving. Okay. For example, observations favors motor skill learning, but who should you observe to learn that new golf shot? An expert who mastered the shot presumably will help you develop a reference of what to do and how to do it. But should you observe someone like you who is learning that shot and who presumably give you a better chance of detecting and learning from error or changes in strategy? Research has shown that observing both a skills model. However, result from our lab shows that observational learning of a new motor skills is improved following observations of both novice and expert models rather than either a novice or an expert model alone. We believe that these variable observations format leads to not only the developments of a good movement representations, expert observations, but also the developments of efficient processes for error detections and correction, novice observation. Okay, next is timing and frequency of demonstrating a skill. When and how frequently should a demonstrations be given? First is demonstration should precede practice. Knowing when and how to demonstrate is a tool that coaches can use with all levels of learners and performers. Demonstrations offer the athlete visual pathways to the kinetic learning that translate to correct executions of a skill or technique. There is an art to demonstrations, one that coaches must work to improve. Active demonstrations allow the athlete to pick up important cues of the movement that might be missed or omitted in verbal dialogue. Second is the instructor should continue demonstrating during practice as frequently as necessary. How frequently should demonstration be given? The more frequently as a beginner observe a skill demonstrations, the more opportunity the beginner will have to accurate the movement patterns. Next is how does observing demonstration influence learning? They have one theory which is cognitive meditations theory. Based on Bandura 1986 theory of modeling and social learning. When a person observes a model, it translates into a symbolic memory code. The memory code allows rehearsal and observations of the information. The memory code serves as a guide for performance. For performance, the code needs to be translated back to the code useful to the motor system.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Mustaqim bin Manja and I will be the last presenter for today. Okay, I will proceed to observational learning. The first point is attention process. Attention process is the process that is influenced by characteristic of the model, such as how much one like or identify with the model, and by characteristic of the observer, such as the observer expectation or level of emotional arousal. The next point is rentation process. Rentation process is being able to remember the behavior that was witnessed. If the human does not remember the behavior, there is a less than probable chance that they will initiate it. The next point is behavior reproduction process. Behavior concerns the physical and mental ability of the individual to copy the behavior he or she observe. For example, a young child may observe a basketball player dunk a ball. And for the last point is motivation. Perhaps motivation is the most important aspect of observational learning. If the human does not have a reason for initiating the behavior, then no amount of attention, retention or reproduction will overcome the lack of motivation. Okay, next we go to the dynamic view of modeling. Based on J.J. Gibson 1966 and 1979 view of visual perception. The visual system is capable of automatically processing the observed movement in a way that constrains the motor control system to act accordingly, so that the person does not need to engage in cognitive mediation. Okay, we go to the last topic in this chapter, which is verbal instruction and cues. Verbal instructions rank with demonstration as a commonly used means of communicating how to perform motor skill. There are 5 factors that are important for developing effective verbal instruction. The first point is amount of verbal instruction and attention. The second point is focus on movement outcomes, action, effect, hypothesis. The third point is focus attention on environmental, context, regulatory condition. The next point is give verbal instruction that influence goal achievement strategies. And for the last point is verbal cues should be short, concise, phrases that can direct attention to the purpose. Okay, that's all from our group. Thanks for watching. Assalamualaikum.